My name is Elizabeth Coon, and joined with me today is the St. Charles boys varsity basketball coach, Coach Taryn Taugher. Thanks so much for joining us, taking some time to chat.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So basketball, obviously a huge part of your life, from playing now to coaching. What really sparked your interest in the sport to begin with?
My dad, most part, he played in college as well. I actually started out doing gymnastics for about 12 years, and I had no interest in basketball. But my dad was kind of like leering me towards basketball, like, hey, why don't we start you at age 4 and see if you like it? And I didn't have a lot of interest in it. And then come around 5th grade, 6th grade, I started Girls Town, and I'm like, oh, I do kind of like this, and I'm kind of decent at it. And so my dad started pushing me to try basketball, and I eventually quit gymnastics and went full on basketball and found out I was pretty good at it. And I wanted to continue on and try to get a scholarship. So,
yeah, absolutely. And you had a very successful career at Freeland. Then obviously you went on to play college basketball. We talk here a lot about the recruiting process and really just that change from high school to college sports. You know, what was your experience like?
I was a part of a really good travel team. I played for Michigan Crossover. So we traveled all over the country. We went to Augusta for Nike Nationals. We had junior nationals in DC for Nike. And we made sure we had a tournament every weekend in the summers. So I was doing a lot of traveling for that exposure in high school. And so that eventually brought recruits to my high school games, because not a lot of recruits will go to high school games. They want to see you play travel against better players. And that's where the main exposure is in these different states, playing against the best and top teams, top players in different states. And then eventually I just started getting letters rolling in around my freshman, sophomore year. And then once I started playing a little better in high school, then I started getting more. And once I started playing better in travel, I started getting more and more letters. And so trying to schedule visits the sophomore year, junior year is pretty stressful for a high schooler, because it's a new thing. No one really introduces you to the scouting and recruiting process. So my dad was a huge help with that, because he played college, so he's familiar. Well, that was back in the day, but he's familiar with and what needed to be done and what was needed on my end.
Yeah, and you moved on to coaching. The last season you took the Hemlock Huskies all the way, winning the state championship. How special was that? What was that experience like in contrast to playing?
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's really hard going from being on the court to the sideline, because you have the urge, like, oh, I wish I could be out there and I could do this, I could help the team. But learning your role as a coach is a new thing you gotta learn. But it was really fun, because my freshman year we went to the Final Four and we never made it to states. So to get to hold that state championship trophy as a coach is it's a blessing. It's a very humbling experience to get to do that. No matter what part of the court you're on, you're still involved. You're still helping these young girls achieve their dreams in high school, and making sure they're having a great athletic experience as well.
Yeah, and now you're moved on to something different, coaching boys. How different is it? What approach did you take? Talk a little bit about it.
Oh, it's very different. Just the social emotional factor going from girls to boys. Boys are very hard-headed. But I made sure I got to know the boys early before I went full attack mode as a head coach. I loved coaching the girls, and I wanted to take my own program into my own hands, and I wanted to create my own culture, have my own values, and just to have that whole head coach was a huge dream of mine. And so I saw there were a couple postings for jobs. There was a girls varsity position and a boys varsity position, and I was like, I would really like to coach boys, because they're bigger, faster, and stronger, and I'm used to that type of play from college. And I grew up with boys, and I grew up with a street ball mentality, playing out in the driveway. I have a lot of male friends from high school, and I was used to being around them and playing basketball with them, and I felt like I'd fit better into that type of environment. And so far it's going really well. I made good relationships with the boys. I started last summer with them. I had some lifts and some open gyms, and I put them through like a first informal practice to pretty much show them how my practices are going to go. And so I made sure to get in there early and build those relationships with them, because to just go in hard-headed and have all these expectations for these boys who don't even know you. It's very unrealistic to try to achieve a overall goal. So
Yeah, and how special was that to really come into a program? You said build it up, build that culture. How special is that? And what is your culture there at St. Charles?
so they last season they had 5 wins total, and so it's only up from here right now. And I'm making sure that our core value is academics, because you cannot play basketball in high school if you do not have good academics. So I make sure that all their grades are underway, that we're respectful to each other, we're respectful to the team. We have a family mentality. We do a lot of team bonding. I took them bowling a couple months ago. We do a lot of team dinners, and I know they appreciate that too, because a lot of that teamwork, you have to do it off the court as well to build it. And they're functioning pretty well under my values. They seem to enjoy it. Where there's a lot of laughing and messing around with me. And there's a lot of things said that go in one ear and out the other, and I'm just like, okay,
whatever. Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it. They're a lot of fun and they're hilarious. So everyday practice it's not like a job to me. It's
what have you seen improvement wise from the team from the start of the season to now?
Our defense, just making sure we're doing those little things, our individual roles, making sure you're in your gap, making sure you're in your help. We've been struggling with boxing out. That has been our past couple wins have just primarily because of those second chance points we're giving teams. And I've been harping on them every time. I'm like, guys, if you do not put a body on somebody, they're going to get a second chance, and it's going to be a higher percentage shot at that that layup, and they're going to be able to make it. And then what do you know? They're up by 2. And so against Coleman, everybody was boxing out. Everyone was in their gaps. Everyone was in their help. It's like everything just seemed to click at once, and they put it from their brains onto the court, and it worked. And we're pushing in transition. I've been harping on pushing transition, scoring in 6 seconds or less, and we're getting the ball up the court. We're crossing the court. We're going straight up the court, hitting our rim runner. We did everything perfect to me, and I couldn't be more proud of last week. So we need to play like that tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I can feel the love that you have for this team. What makes this group so special other than them making fun of you all the time?
They care about not only each other but me. Like I'll walk into practice and one of my post players and then another one of my guards, coach, how was work today? And I'm like, you're asking me how work was today? I was like, work was fine. How was school today? They're like, it was good. And then they keep telling me about what went on at school and what they plan to do this weekend. And it's like, you got to get to know them on a personal level. You want to care about what they're doing. How's their families? Is there anything they need to talk to you about? And you want to make them comfortable with you as well. So
yeah, absolutely. What are you looking forward to most heading into the second half of the season?
Hopefully getting more wins under our belt. I'd like to get more than 5 wins like last season. But seeing how we're playing right now, that it's in sight. It seems like the end of the season's already approaching, and it's very unfortunate because it seems like we just started. Snow days are not helping us right now, having games postponed, because you prepare for a game a couple nights before and your mentality is ready, and then the game's canceled, and then you got to get ready for the next team, and you haven't prepared for them yet.
Right.
So I'm learning about that right now as a head coach, because it's my first year, and I'm like, okay, I had that scout ready. Now I got to get this scout ready for tonight. But they know on the practices before games that it's game time, and we got to be focused. We got to go over our scout, got to make sure our defense is intact. We know what offenses they're going to be running, how to get through those cross screens, things like that.
Yeah, what would you say is your favorite part of being the head coach of this team?
Seeing them run my favorite offense. We ran horns in college, and there's so many opportunities out of it. There's so many options. And seeing them finally realize, oh yeah, this does work if I do go this way. But if I go this way and it doesn't work, there's another option. And you see them get to think and develop some basketball IQ. It's a lot of fun to see them improve on that area.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Coach. We appreciate it. We're rooting for you the rest of the season, and we thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you again for having me.
Thanks so much.